Greetings, citizens of the internet, or whatever the hell this is. My name is Lori Lightfoot, and I have commandeered this channel to let you know that I completely disapprove of the content that is on this platform. And I hope that you agree with me, so that if you do, make sure that you are not supporting this channel by going to patreon.com/Chicago Corner. Whatever you do, avoid this channel's Patreon at all costs. My re-election is counting on you, and I hope that if we can all do things that are... I'm losing my train of thought, and I have no idea why the hell I'm still on this broadcast.
You are watching the Tuesday night edition of Chicago Corner. Woo!
Hello, and welcome to Taco Tuesday. Who wants a taco? Yeah, I know. Taco. All right, everyone, act normal. Perfect. Now, everybody say.
Oh my God! It's Taco Tuesday!
What are you doing?
I'm doing the show.
What's the show?
What's the show? The show is Chicago Corner. You know damn well what the show is.
Is that thing where you sit in front of the screen all the time?
Yeah, and you always walk on my keyboard and screw up the controls when I'm trying to talk to people.
Oh, is that what? Oh, sorry, Bob.
My little boy?
I didn't mean to do that.
All right, I know you did.
And voila, pizza tacos.
It was Pegleg who started the Great Chicago Fire.
You dirty son of an elf! Get back here and help me put out this fire! Oh, sure, like the people will believe that Santa went on a bender in October and started a barn fire. What happened? Where am I? Oh, wait, I see it. You mean I could have pressed that button the whole time?
Did you order thousands of new jobs and a pepperoni?
Here's the problem I have. The first problem I have, Jerry. Pepperoni? Are you freaking kidding me? Chicago, Jerry, is an Italian sausage town.
You better believe it.
That's
what she said.
Damn it, and there are ants in my whiskey.
They add flavor, Kira. Is that
man,
like the worm in tequila?
Have you seen my whiskey ants anywhere?
That's okay. That's okay. The show will go on, everybody.
A happy Taco Tuesday. Hello and good evening. Welcome to Taco Tuesday on Chicago Corner. I am your host, Edward Heller, and I am here to explain to you the fine... I don't know what the hell I'm here to explain to you, but we got some stuff on the show to talk about. I know we did a live stream recently that we might want to bring Jerry on for in a minute. But first, I gotta... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring Jerry on for this too. Hey, Jerry, how's it going?
Mr. Heller, you have the con.
Yes, sir, I do, and it's a weird experience, and I'm still getting used to it. But I think I'm getting a little more comfortable driving the bus here.
You're managing very well.
Yes, thank you. there is a travesty going on in the city, ladies and gentlemen. It is a major travesty to in gigantic proportions, and the travesty is that the best name for the Chicago Snowplows did not make the finalists in the Chicago Snowplow contest.
More lame choices by the administration, Ed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it's rigged, but maybe it's rigged, Jerry. We had some great suggestions from our audience, and we could go back and read some of those later. But they got 50 different finalists here, and the best one, which is Lord Slushington J. Shuvelsworth III, did not get chosen, Jerry.
I think that so I haven't looked at this list yet, Ed. I remember that we had presented some very funny choices or suggestions from the chat. I don't know how many people actually entered the contest or if you did, but I think that was that the one you submitted?
Well, technically Pegleg entered the contest, but he's got his own email too, if you guys want to send a note to him.
So what was the name that Pegleg submitted?
So Pegleg submitted Lord Slushington J. Shuvelsworth III.
That's like a Thomas the Train name.
Well, yeah, but it's the best name, Jerry.
I thought that it would be, it's a funny name. I just felt that obviously names that were associated with Chicago trivia or Chicago personalities, they would never choose them because you don't want to step on anybody's toes being irreverent or making light of the situation. And I think a lot of the suggestions we saw in our chat when you first reported on this story were referencing, Chicago icons or tearing down Chicago icons in the names. And I wish I had a good memory to remember what they were.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just posted the direct link that the city is using for people to vote in the 50 finalists there. But I'm going to read a little bit from the story from ABC News. Chicago asks residents to name 6 snowplows with finalists including Sleet Home Chicago, Jerry. And I'm going to use my happy announcer voice because this is one of those really fantastic feel-good stories we're going to have here on Chicago Corner tonight.
That's going to distract everyone else from everything else that's happening across.
Greetings, citizens of the internet!
I hit the wrong button. That's supposed
she won't stay away.
She won't. This is all, distraction from this, right?
Yeah.
But now I will say Sleet Home Chicago, actually, that's inspired. I do like that.
Yeah, and that actually, the other ironic thing is that there's no snow on the ground, Jerry. I mean, it's actually unseasonably warm here.
Yeah.
It's so... I mean, maybe we'll get hit with another freak snowstorm, but I don't think so. I mean, but it's early, maybe March is going to hit us like a lion, like they say.
Yeah.
So, yes, Chicago Streets and Sanitation encourage residents to submit ideas in September.
You sound like a guy from WGN News. That's how everybody over at WGN talks.
Well, I'm trying to do my jolly announcer voice and talk about this fantastic fun story about the snowplow naming contest where they completely didn't pick the right one in the finalists.
It's all
absolutely shocked, Jerry, that they did not choose Lord Slushington J. Shuvelsworth III. Okay.
You're a Plow star. That's funny.
So.
Well, let's hear. Yeah,
I'm looking at the wrong story here. Oh, at first glance, hey, now you're a Plow star, and Sleet Home Chicago sound like songs Weird Al Yankovic impersonator might sing at a snow removal industry conference. Instead, there are 2 of the names Chicago residents have pitched for 6 of Chicago's snow plows. So out of 50 finalists, 6 snow plows are going to get names from all of you guys voting. So, and all you got to do is put in your zip code and pick 6. That link I posted in the chat.
I seem to remember something floating here that had Chance the Rapper in it, like Chance the Scraper.
Chance the Scraper. Lala. Oh, actually, I had one. It's not quite the same spelling, but Lollapalooza, Jerry. Or they call it Lollapalooza. That's not as good. And the Plowminator. Okay. Oh, Plow Winfrey. Better Call Salt.
Lame.
Oh my God, these names are fantastic, Jerry.
Lame. I thought those were lame.
Okay. Yes. Once voting ends at the end of the month, the top names will be featured on snow plows in each of Chicago's 6 snow districts. Why do we only have 6? I mean, we got 50 wards, right?
Well, those are also larger areas, and it I know why. If they have 6 snow districts as opposed to 50 snow districts, if they don't cover a certain ward, they can still say, well, our plows were out in that district.
Well, but I mean, even 6 doesn't make sense if there's 50 wards, so maybe they should have 10 districts, you know?
Look, man, we've got how many mental health clinics across the city? 6?
Is that how many?
I think that's what 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Those aren't priorities.
Yeah, so... Oh, we got a quote from Lightfoot in this story. That's great. You're eating. I'll do it. I'm thrilled to begin this fun and exciting naming process for our vitally important fleet of snow vehicles, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said when she announced the first ever citywide competition in December. Yeah, okay. I think that's enough for this. Or unless we want to read. Oh, yeah.
Bodie McBoatface.
Oh, they're talking about, okay, yeah, when the British government asked the internet in 2016 to name a $250 million research ship, the participants overwhelmingly voted to name the vessel RRS Bodie McBoatface, which won the contest. Which I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, and of course somebody did Plowy McPlowface, right?
What do you expect when you ask the public to give you names?
The best names, Jerry. The best names. And and since we're still sort of in the top of the show here, I want to thank our wonderful Patreon supporters,
yes,
who have donated to Chicago Corner to help us out, and Kathy Powers and Dominic Palella. And wait, don't we have a new one, Jerry?
We do. Dr. Howard Ehrman of the People's Response Network has signed on to support Patreon. Our Chicago Corner's Patreon, much to the disapproval of, I'm sure, our own reviled, Lori Lightfoot. But hey, tough beans, Madame Mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Ehrman. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Dominic.
At no time are you to make any donations to patreon.com/Chicago Corner. I absolutely forbid it. You're not the boss of me.
And Kathy clarified in the chat there are only 5 mental health clinics across the city. 5. Thanks, Kathy.
All right. So I think we can move on, but I think you had some breaking news, right, Jerry?
I do. Can you bring up that video? Because since mine doesn't come out with audio as we tested before the show.
Let me see if
I sent the link in the private chat.
Oh, this is going to be a test here.
News from our ward. News from the 50th. Now, this is not in the show notes, everybody. I actually shared it with Ed before the show because there was some interesting developments in an email that I got from 50th Ward Alder person, Deborah Silverstein. So let's run the ABC video, though. Crime is up in our ward, and we will take it apart or unwrap it at the end of this Eyewitness News segment.
This also broke overnight. A 25-year-old man was shot and killed on Chicago's north side. Police say he was a passenger in the vehicle and that someone in a black sedan fired shots. This happened near Rockwell and Fitch in West Rogers Park. No one is in custody. At least 21 people were shot over the weekend in Chicago. 4 have died.
All right.
This also...
So this, unfortunately, obviously our heartfelt condolences go out to the victim's family or friends. But this elicited an email from 50th Ward Alderperson Deborah Silverstein. And I'm sharing from the email as I received it. Here we go. Another person was shot and killed in our neighborhood last night. We are increasingly feeling the sting of gun violence, and it is unacceptable. We have had enough. I have requested a meeting between the mayor, myself, and police and Superintendent David Brown immediately. Okay, great. I guess Alderman Silverstein must now understand what it's like on the south and west sides, where this is like a daily occurrence, not, like we just had last night. Now, here's the best part. I'm also asking for your help in communicating the urgency of crime in our neighborhood. Please, think about how crime and violence have affected your life and send me a message. It can be a written email, it can be a video message, or any other way you can think of expressing our communal outrage. Send your testimonials to ward50 at cityofchicago.org, and I will share them with the mayor directly. We look to our mayor and police superintendent to keep us safe, but I don't feel safe. We have seen the city draining the local police districts in favor of protecting the downtown area, but I know thousands of local residents who want to be protected too. Please send me your testimonials, join your voice with mine, and help force the mayor to bring additional resources to our neighborhood. Now, I shared with Ed prior to the show, okay, nice performative sentiment. Does she really expect Superintendent Brown and Mayor Lightfoot to suddenly make the 50th Ward their priority? Or dare I imagine that Madame Mayor Lightfoot will start patrolling the streets of the 50th Ward as the Rona Destroyer to fight crime and protect all of us from the dark forces that have suddenly invaded the 50th Ward that are all over the rest of the city.
Mm-hmm. I know, Jerry. I had I didn't have enough time to have one of my unpaid interns to Photoshop me into a new costume, but I'm now going to be patrolling the streets as Batfoot.
Batfoot! Hey, we got a super chat from our friend in New York, Shane. Shane, thank you. Just wanted to show my support for this amazing show. There is no local news anymore, which makes the work you do even more important. We'll be signing up on Patreon immediately. Shane, bless you, buddy. Bless you, brother. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah,
greatly appreciate it.
How dare you donate to this channel? How dare you?
I love this one. Big Mr. Firebird. There are 6 mental health establishments in Chicago. The 6th.
His life was office.
This is her office. If we weren't laughing, we'd be crying. Thank you, Big Mr. Firebird.
Yes.
Yes, Kathy. Silverstein is a rubber stamper. And I must also share, I had an opportunity today to talk with my tenant downstairs, and he's been a lifelong, for as long as he's been in the ward, Silverstein supporter. And normally in the past, he's shared that, he attends the CAPS meetings and usually has a direct line with Silverstein. And in the past, she's always been very responsive. Not so much anymore. Whenever he, reaches out regarding crime or other matters in the neighborhood, she's now responding through a handler. She now has a handler. She doesn't respond directly to the residents. I guess she's kind of hands off in light of the fact that she's got a pretty strong opposition here now, strong challenger in Moise Bawani. So I told my tenant, I said, I happened to interview Moise because my tenant did not know about Moise or about his platform. And he was a little bit skeptical. And I said, well, we spent an hour with Moise on Chicago Corner. So I'm going to send you the YouTube link of the segment. So, as a 50th Ward resident, you can really hear what he has to share and what his vision is for the 50th Ward, which I'm still impressed was so very comprehensive. And I also got another polling call the other day from Moise's campaign team. And before the lady could ask me the first question, I said, just mark yes on everything. I interviewed him on our show. I'm very impressed with this young man's platform. And she was like, really? Well, what is your show? I said, Chicago Corner on YouTube, blah, 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 blah. But I said, talk to other people, but he's got my vote and I've got his window sign I'm going to be putting up in my window. And I said, we also told Moise he's welcome to share that hour-long interview on social media. So those who don't know what his platform is can learn about it over on our YouTube channel, since it's subclipped as its own segment. So, again, all respect to Alderperson Silverstein. I'm sure her heart's in the good place, but I'm sorry. Videos to Superintendent Brown and the mayor it's like, Sorry, my mom hates when I do that, but I think it's a stroke job. It's a performative stroke job. It's not going to do anything. And it's ironic too that now, look, we're every other week, Ed, we're reporting on stories from the South and West Sides where this is a daily occurrence. Now that suddenly hit, the North Side ward where we never deal with crime, and it's more light-skinned. Well, it's not actually not as many light-skinned.
We have also because we're in the campaign cycle now. And
that's right too.
That's what it is. They're not even. She's not going to do something that like this performative when she's not up for re-election.
Well, I would say maybe not. Because with all fairness to her, I am impressed. I got to be fair. Even though I'm voting from Ways, I have to give her credit that she always updates us with emails from the ward. So at least she reaches out, and it has been more in relation to crime, and it has been before the election cycle. Anytime we've got inclement weather and trees are down from storms and stuff, she does alert us, and I'm sure Moise will also. I mean, that's what a good alderperson does. I think, as I told Moise, as I was talking with my tenant, like, we're in agreement that she's been responsive to doing stuff in the neighborhood, but as we talked about in that interview with Moise, she was new blood when she replaced Bernie Stone. Okay, and then she was the progressive candidate, candidate in the neighborhood making sweeping change, and she's been here as a career politician for a long time. Now here comes Ways, right? New ideas, fresh ideas, and she's pretty much a rubber stamp for both mayors, and it's more status quo stuff. So we need somebody new to shake things up the way she did. With all respect to her, when she ran against Stone.
It's unfortunate the way that the career politicians become complacent over time. I don't know if maybe that's just the way the cycle works in this city. Well, it's nice to see a new crop of candidates that are trying to make a change for that.
We know the solution isn't going to be to up the police up in the North Side. That's not going to change anything. As we know from every other neighborhood, giving more money to the police, all due respect to the police department, we know that overfunding them is not going to change anything. And what is going to change everything? The preventative measures, the preventative investment, the preventative solutions that Moise was talking about, as far as mental health clinics, investing more in the ward, taking a more holistic approach to attacking the root causes of crime, not just being reactive with, let's give more money to the police and put more cops on the street. Cops can be everywhere, but they still can't stop someone from walking out of their house and shooting somebody. No amount of cops is going to stop that, okay? They can respond to it. But if you figure out, well, why did that person decide to walk out of their house and shoot somebody to rob them? Because they're desperate, or they have no other means to, or they've got something wrong upstairs, that they think that that's the right way to deal with things. And that speaks to everything. A lot of the candidates in the mayoral race, I think, are also addressing as well with the mental health clinics and more preventative solutions instead of reactive ones.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we got a firestorm of super chats from Shane. Right. Thank you so much, Shane, for the super chats.
Yes.
And let's see.
So Kathy's saying, tell NME. I'm not sure what that means, but she had the police kettle in front of her office during a rally. I don't know if you're talking about Silverstein, Kathy. Some of your typing is there's some typos, so I wasn't quite clear on. But yeah, optics. Yeah, Kathy also mentions optics. So
okay. Hold on. What do we got here?
And Kathy, I know it's her job, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying thank goodness she does it. It is her job, and she's been performing it. All I'm saying is, like, she has been doing what we expect her to do, but if she's thinking that, posturing, I'm going to talk to the police superintendent to put more cops up here, or for any older person to do it anywhere, we know that's not going to solve the problem. So we need to talk more about the other solutions, like Moise suggested.
And now we'll take a brief break for a pronunciation countdown thing doohickey. Moise.
Thank you.
Moise.
And I'm saying Moise. Moise? Okay.
Moise. That's kind of comforting to say that. Moise.
I was worried I was mispronouncing Jamal's name and that it was Jamal, but apparently it's Jamal, so at least I got that right. And Shane, you want to go first, Ed?
Oh, well, we got Shane with the who do we like for mayor?
It's
Let's
another
go back.
two-
Let's stick a pin in that for a second.
Okay.
Say cheese, Louise. I just needed to do that.
Now, Kathy says we expected her to support a community police board, and she didn't. Thanks for that update regarding Silverstein.
Okay, who do we like for mayor? Well, we got some pretty good candidates. If you were watching the live stream, that was me posting most of the stuff from the Chicago Corner account during the live stream, and I had said when they had a shot on 3 of the candidates who all have very similar positions on a lot of things and seem to all care about the city, I said, can we please have 3 co-mayors? Can you guess which 3?
Those 3.
That's those 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I think I had told you, Jerry, before that I thought Brandon was like J Mal's more boring brother.
Yeah, I love that. But he's got good ideas. You can't dismiss it. J Mal is more like he's got the swagger. He's got like the fire in his gut. Not saying that Johnson doesn't, but Johnson has the maturity. J Mal's got the let's get shit done. And I really like that about So my choice is J Mal. But damn, if we could have Johnson and J Mal both voted in as mayor, I would be a very, very happy Chicagoan.
Yeah, and I would even throw Cam Buckner in there, especially for his blues music chops. We saw the other night, we played the video. He was in a blues club singing the blues.
So those are our selections. Now, sadly, the hard work all these candidates are doing could very potentially be usurped by Jesus the Stash Garcia.
The Stash.
The Stash. I'm no more Chewy. It's the Stash. He's got that cookie duster that just I can't take my eyes off of. But yeah, so again, another Democratic operative, the congressman who didn't want to bail on his congressional campaign and actually get started earlier running for mayor. He made sure to secure his congressional seat. And now he's wasting the time he should be spending doing the work for his district running for mayor and getting paid for it. So, because the Democrats probably see Lightfoot as being very vulnerable. And if she wins, the Stash will have helped spoil the vote with these other candidates. And if she loses and it's him, they still have their tentacles all over Chicago, Cook County, and the rest of the state of Illinois. So it really is quite a diabolical strategy. And I guess I have to tip my hat to them, because the fact he emerged in the last minute when all of these other candidates had been busting their asses throughout the end of last summer and into the fall and into the winter. And then he just comes up out of nowhere and he's got this swagger. He's got this attitude like he's got it in the bag, which is exactly what Rahm Emanuel did when he entered the race in the last minute the first time.
Yeah. And I'm jumping a little bit ahead in the stories here just because it's kind of related to what we were talking about. If
Definitely.
I hit the close thing on this, is it really going to throw a paywall up on here?
Do you have that?
Oh, no, I just had to make my window bigger to close the thing. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we had an opinion piece from the Tribe. They're a pretty good website. It's the Tribe with 2 I's. I don't know why they spell it that way, but that's cool. They do a lot of good articles. This guy's got an opinion piece of analysis, more or less coming to a lot of the conclusions we've come to.
Interesting. And we were talking about this when he entered the race, like what, 3 months ago?
Yeah. So, I mean, the too long didn't read version of this article is that Lori's a turncoat, basically, which we have talked about before.
Yeah.
She campaigned as a progressive and then ran as Rahm 2.0.
Ran 2 inches shorter.
2 inches shorter. And then that Chewy is a spoiler. Basically, he's getting in the race so he can knock out all the other competitors to Lori. Although my opinion is that Lori has a worse chance than Chewy. So really, Lori's the spoiler in that case. Except Chewy is because she's the incumbent. He's being seen as a spoiler.
And Chewy's got his job in Congress to go back to. He's got his nest all feathered. Doesn't matter if he wins or loses here. He's still got his cushy congressional job that apparently he can take a lot of time away from to run for mayor. Apparently, there's not any business in his district he's got to pay more attention to over these. Well, since he entered the race, what has it been, about 4 or 5 months up until February or a possible runoff in March? So he's campaigning. He's got all the time in the world to waste over here. How do the people in his district feel?
So here we go. Here we got, here's Laura. They're talking campaign trail Lightfoot. She promised to halt the Lincoln Yards project, but the $6 billion project is set to break ground by summer 2023. Supported the elected school board. We know she backtracked on that. Then she wanted to increase the real estate transfer tax on higher priced property sales. That hasn't happened. And then, and then here's Chewy acting as...
Yeah, read this paragraph.
Oh, the Chewy entering the race literally opened the door for a Mayor Lightfoot re-election, they're saying. Chewy entered the race as the only Mexican-American candidate, but also a, quote, progressive Democrat. Eyes rolling. Can you see my eyes rolling on that? Much like Cam Buckner and Brandon Johnson, who both announced their candidacies before Chewy. This will most certainly split the progressive black vote and shine a light, no pun intended, on how unique Mayor Lightfoot is to the ballot. Okay. I mean, are they really thinking that Lightfoot's going to pull this off?
Well, again, Ed, it goes to he's either going to spoil the vote so she stays on top, even though she's the most unlikable and reviled candidate, or Chewy might win, in which case, he's got two great. He's got the fifth floor to look at, or going back to Congress. So while the tribe is speculating that he's going to make it easy for Lightfoot to win,
yeah,
I think that there's even money on either him helping her win re-election or taking it himself because of his popularity. Because we have a lot of uninformed voters who aren't analyzing this the way we are. Because all I ever see on the news is the stash, Leadweight, and Vallis, and Wilson, the big money candidates that everybody knows about because they're celebrities. I rarely see the same equal coverage given to Buckner or Johnson or Green or King. I mean, I don't think so. I think Sophia King, this is an ego thing. It's no chance in the world of winning. And
but I will say I'm surprised a little bit that the local channels actually do cover the other candidates some, because usually it's, like you said, it's the front runners they get the quotes from, and then everybody else is just an afterthought for a lot of these networks. Well, maybe, just maybe, because most of the city is pretty much united around the fact that we really need to get rid of Lightfoot, that they're like, okay, well, let's see what all of them have to say in the early rounds, before we get closer to the election. And then maybe we'll see the local channels start to really fine-tune who they really want to focus on. But you're right. Even now, though, it's like a Lori versus Chewy race, and occasionally they'll bring in Jamal for color, especially when he has outrageous things to say about Lori, and then Brandon Johnson, because he's got the teachers union support, is going to get coverage. Whereas a lot of the other candidates, it's a toss-up, really. But here they go.
Sir, I object that you are disqualifying my chances to continue to lead the city of Chicago the way I have always led it. You, sir, this is what I have to say to you.
No, sir. You will stop speaking. You're full of crap. And that's the nicest thing that I can say.
Yeah, I mean, she's a charmer, right, Jerry? So, yeah, I mean, we got Brandon Johnson. It says currently a Cook County Board Commissioner is someone everyone should be watching. Optics matter in politics, and he checks all the boxes. Family man, political and community. Yeah, so does Jamal. Political and community organizing experience, backed by respected Black and brown progressives in the city council, and he even knocked off a major West Side politician, Richard Boykin, who currently works for Willie Wilson's 2023 mayoral campaign to become commissioner in 2018.
Now, I didn't know who he was when he emerged. And I'm like, what is he doing as commissioner? But I'm listening to him now, and it's like, all right, he's clearly got ideas in the right direction.
Yeah, well, you know somebody else who people really didn't know until he started campaigning during his mayoral race.
Yep.
That guy.
I hear you.
And, had he taken better care of himself.
I'm still speculating from beyond the grave who will carry on the Harold Washington legacy and serve all the good people of the city of Chicago.
But Mr. Mayor, how many years do you mayor? I'm going to stop hitting the button so you can.
Thank you. I've got the control of Harold Washington right now.
Okay, he's yours. How many years do you think you would have been able to serve had you not, been a little bit too much of a smoker and eating everything at every event you've ever attended?
Well, at the very least, I was considering a three consecutive term service to the city of Chicago until all of those donuts and smoking and everything else, unfortunately, made my heart much bigger than it normally is for people. Okay, that was in bad taste, but it's the truth.
Well, yeah. His heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Yeah, that's horrible to think about.
Okay, we're going to stop talking about that. Okay. Anyway, so we got this article from the tribe here. They're basically saying, where is it? Where did I say it? I might need to scroll down. Here we go. Brandon Johnson is a dark horse who can run away with the whole thing if he raises the bread and has a plan for the business community.
Which JMO has.
Yeah. Now, just recently, I heard Brandon Johnson got a big donation from the American Federation of Teachers, the AFT? Yeah. So he's got support. So, I wouldn't anybody who's counting him out is a
Can I recommend though, Ed, read the other couple paragraphs prior to Brandon, because these are all like very important factors I think that play into the whole thing.
Sure. I'll stop at the start at the top here. Okay. It's too early to call, but I'm predicting a few things that could happen in the 2023 Chicago mayoral race. Lightfoot will do and use whatever she can to win, even if it means shining the wrong light on her reelection image. This CPS email mistake opens the entire mayoral race up. Yeah, and I watched that video link you sent me, Jerry. I don't know if we're going to share it here, but if you want to post it in the live chat for other people to enjoy after the show.
What if she starts delivering pizzas to people personally? In a bid the way that Willie Wilson's giving out gas cards? I think that's maybe I wouldn't put it past her. She actually delivered pizzas to people. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Okay, I'm sorry about the pepperoni. Let it go. She's not sorry about the pepperoni. Okay, yeah. The next, the bribe from Willie Wilson's political consultant, Ricky Hendon, and a volunteer for Jamal Green's campaign. Yes, we covered that. See, maybe these guys from the tribe are watching our show.
He's a paid hitman. He's a paid political hitman is what he was.
Captured on recorded audio will cost Wilson a spot in the runoff. He previously had a good chance because he won the black vote in the February 2019 Chicago mayoral election. Okay. And then we talked about Brandon Johnson being a dark horse. Okay. They're saying his campaign will have to be on steroids to achieve this. Well, the reality is Chewy needs to be pressured to drop out and stop running. He needs to go back to Congress and go get money for the state.
That's what would help us.
There is nothing else that he was better suited for right now and better connected for right now than doing that.
Exactly.
And I hope somebody from his campaign is watching this and listening. You're spoiling the city for selfish reasons, and you should go back to Congress and get more money for Illinois.
And if if the stash spoils it and we're stuck with Lightfoot for another 4 years, I'm blaming Garcia. I'm putting it at his feet.
Yeah,
it's his fault.
And he's going to deserve that blame.
Yeah.
Because the truth is he dragged his feet on the teachers union endorsement. And so it's clear to me he's in it for him and not really in it for the city. I'm sure he cares about the city.
Yeah, but he's again, Ed,
he's too connected to the wrong people.
He's a loyal Democratic machine foot soldier, as is Lightfoot.
Yeah.
They're both pawns in this larger game of the national Democratic establishment retaining control over our state, county, and city. That's, I think, ultimately when we were talking with Shane, when we were talking to Shane at Kerberos Media many shows back about how they're floating the trial balloon of running Lightfoot for governor, not so she can win, but so that she can get the national exposure to potentially go into Congress to basically solidify Democratic presence in Congress. Nothing makes it more clear than this is just pieces on a chessboard to retain control. That's all it is, with identity politics guiding it all.
Yeah, and so I popped this up because it's relevant to the discussion here. Alderman Byron Cicho Lopez posted this. The other day? When was this? I think it was yesterday. But it says, if Johnson is not successful in his appeal to the business community, Chewy will split the progressive black vote and land in the runoff against Lightfoot, in which Lightfoot will win re-election. Again, I don't know where they're getting that from. I honestly think Chewy's more popular than Lori, even though Chewy is connected to the wrong people.
All the wrong people.
And you can see one of them in this photo right here.
Now, keep in mind, too, Mr. Heller, that Congressman Garcia was a loyal member of the coalition I was building to try to lead Chicago to a better future. Now, unfortunately, Congressman Garcia thought he could change the Democratic Party from within, and unfortunately, the Democratic Party changed the candidate. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's just a fact now. You cannot reform the corruption in Congress right now.
Both sides.
At least not with the duopoly. You can't.
No, we're not endorsing Republicans, and we're not. Our contempt for the Democrats is equal for the Republicans because they're the same party.
Yeah, and he's not saying they have exactly the same rhetoric, but the truth is they're working together. They're in cahoots, as they say.
They're serving their donors, not us, and their donors is this, not us. So long as the donors have got their tentacles over both parties, nothing's changing. The corporations, the banksters, Wall Street, the pharmaceutical cartel, the insurance cartels. Should I go on?
No, I think that's
I covered it all.
I mean, we could go forever, but big pharma, big oil, big medical, big pizza.
Papa John's could be that.
I could go for a big pizza.
A good pizza, not the big pizza donors of the Republican Party like that Papa John's. That's like eating cardboard and ketchup. Papa John's pizza. That's what that's.
Yeah. Plus, they don't. At least the last time I checked, they weren't giving their employees health care. So
no. Well, he lives in a castle with a moat. Did you know that the founder of Papa John's, he lives in a castle, and there's like
really.
Well, he lives in a mansion that looks like a castle with a moat around it. Actually, I'm
going to I got to start a pizza restaurant, Jerry.
How many times have I been trying to light a fire under your ass, buddy?
I mean, well, if it results in me being able to purchase a castle,
Let me look.
Because that would be awesome. And Jerry can attest that, I got skills. But can't you, Jerry? You can attest to that?
Ed gave me some deep dish pizza when I dropped him off after the Mayoral forum the other day. And I brought it home and heated it up. And dare I say, it is equal to, if not better, than Lou Malnati's. That type of pizza. It was a deep dish. It was like, it wasn't stuffed. It was deep dish like Malnati's, but it was tastier.
Yeah, because I go out of my way to add flavor in places. That's what she said.
That's what she said. All right, so to eliminate any doubt, Ed, before we move on, let's get through the weeds. I was not exaggerating. This is the home of Papa John.
Damn.
Castle with a fucking moat around it.
Dude, I want a moat
For the shittiest pizza in the world. Shittiest pizza in the world.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, Jerry. I mean,
Oh,
but
it's horrible.
It's
man.
not,
It's
in my
horrible.
opinion, not great.
It's horrible. To me, it's horrible. And when we have the freedom and the diversity of Chicago born and bred pizza places like Chicago's Pizza, or Lou Malnati's, or Giordano's, or Pequot's.
It's been quite a while since I've even had a piece of Papa John's, and I wasn't the purchaser. But if my recollection is still accurate, they put too much sugar in their dough.
You're not missing anything. I mean, it's like a step away from Domino's.
You know, actually, I don't hate Domino's, mostly because some of that got me through college.
Well, and also, you don't eat it anymore?
I don't hate it.
Oh, you don't hate it. Well,
yeah,
you don't eat it
eaten it
out of the self-respect you have, being the pizza connoisseur. And
look, I don't like to go all in on the pizza chains. You know, I mean, some of those, you know, I experienced as a child growing up and had fond memories, and it's just, you know, I'm just not a big fan of the corporate aspect of a lot of those chains where they, you know, the ones that don't take care of their employees. But I don't, you know, but I'm just generalizing because I don't want to point out any specific pizza chain for doing bad by their employees, Papa John's.
Well, it's not the employee's fault that the recipe sucks. Am I being a pizza snob?
Maybe, but you know, once you've had Ed's Pizza, you know, it makes you more opinionated, you know. I mean, and then of course Uncle Warren, you know, he still needs to come visit us in Chicago so he can get in the waiting area of the deep dish pool.
Yes, definitely.
Because once you go deep, I don't know.
That's what she said.
I don't know how to finish that, but that's a good finish. Okay, so yeah. So they're saying if Johnson is successful in his appeal to the business community, he could land in the runoff against Lightfoot for Chewy. If Johnson is not successful in his appeal to the business community, Chewy will split the progressive black vote and land in the runoff against Lightfoot, in which Lightfoot will win the re-election. The truth is, Chewy's the problem here.
Yes, absolutely.
And Chewy knows he's the problem, and maybe that's the plan.
He's proud to be the problem. The attitude, confidence he resonates or projects at any public thing he's at, it's just like it's all about him. He's got it.
And it's really
he's got it.
And it's really a shame he's not the same Chewy from, you know, Harold Washington's time, because maybe we wouldn't have so many problems with the issues that we're having with him. But I mean, just strategically for the state.
He's not the man I knew many years ago. He's not the man I knew many years ago. Please go on.
Yeah, just strategically for the state and our lovely city of Chicago, our beloved city. Chewy needs to stay in Congress and get funding for our state. He needs to help us fund the public schools and the health centers that got closed and all the other community support apparatus that are clearly underfunded or unfunded right now. We're not going to fix all of it by redirecting funds that are currently going to police who don't seem to be solving the issues we're having with crime. So, I mean, even if those funds get properly directed and the police get the support they need and everybody in the communities get all the support they need and everybody is glad handing each other and happy and doing all the things to cooperate, the state still needs some funds to make sure that everything else is functioning properly. Chewy, that's what you need to do. Get us some money.
Question. And Warren brings up a very good point. Jesus Garcia. How do you get Chewy from that?
Yeah, it's I think I looked that up once, but it's like a pronunciation thing.
But you can't pronounce Jesus in any way that comes close to Chewy nor Garcia. Now, Chewy Baca is funny, but that's actually Warren. I prefer to call him. I don't call him Chewy Garcia anymore. I have been calling him Jesus the Stash Garcia because of that cookie duster he's got on his upper lip.
We're gonna, you know what? We may have to update this overlay so it has like the stash in like glowing letters. We should give all the candidates nicknames before we hit the primary, Jerry.
Well, we got lightweight or lead weight. I'm not sure which one we want to go with there. Liefoot, that's another nickname. I wouldn't know.
Excuse me, Jerry. It's Batfoot. Get it right.
We'll have to wait for that cosplay change, Madame Mayor.
I'm not the mayor they need.
No,
but I'm also not the mayor they need.
She's not the mayor we deserve. No, you know what, Ed? I think we need to reconsider her cosplay. It should be Beetlebat. Beetlebat. Not Batfoot. Or Beetlefoot. Beetlefoot? Yeah, Beetlefoot.
Not funny, Jerry.
Lori the Bee. Funny. Lori the Bee, and that B could stand for a lot of different things.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Are we done with this article, or we got more?
You have the con.
I know. I'm just trying to think if there's any other points this guy was trying to make. We'll just go to the end here. Again, it's too early to call, but as the saying goes, quote, if you want to be the champ, you've got to beat the champ. Chewie entering the race made the incumbent harder to beat, but Lightfoot has to make sure she doesn't do anything else to beat herself up. Honestly, I don't think Lightfoot has a chance in hell now.
I think she shot herself in that big dick that she likes to brag about with that scandal with the students. I really, or her staff, since she had nothing to do with it and she didn't know anything about it because the buck clearly doesn't stop at the 5th floor.
Yeah. So thank you, Tim Jones from the Tribe. And we'll go on to the next story. I'm out of order now. So now, let's see. What else? Well, do we want to talk about the live stream? How the live stream went, Jerry? Should we take a minute for that?
Well, we spent a lot of time and work and effort covering that forum, and we were very proud to do so. It's on the channel for anybody who hasn't watched it yet. It was almost 3 hours long. My takeaway was that, once again, a lot of the candidates are in very strong alignment with each other on a lot of the issues that we feel are important that need to be addressed. However, I felt a very interesting and relevant email from our friend of the show and a patron, Dominic Palella. And I shared it with you, Ed, and I'm going to see if I can find it now. Dominic brought up a very, very good point regarding the
that's
forum.
right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Dominic, if you're watching, I'm going to quote from the email you sent because he's absolutely right. As great as the forum was, as well organized as it was, the fantastic effort from the People's Response Network, and they did ask tough questions. This was what Dominic's reflection was on it all, or his takeaway. It had candidates agreeing with each other on softball questions with the usual rhetoric from traditional politicians. No final comments that would give them any separation from each other. It's very difficult for political organization leaders like this to understand that they should be demanding a voice in government instead of listening to politicians that make all of their political decisions for them. It's nearly impossible for them to realize they are victims of the Stockholm Syndrome, where chains and shackles are no longer needed to have people vote against their own interests. Now, the reason Dominic brings this up is that a major component of the pledge that he puts forth to candidates over at independentvoterparty.org is a request, a demand that the candidates not only listen to the demands of their constituents, but actually have ongoing forums, even after they're in office, to listen to what their constituents are continuing to ask for and report back on what they promised and whether or not they're delivering, and keep that conversation going as a component of ongoing service. Now, normally a candidate will be elected and they'll run things and they'll have a town hall here or there, but an actual pledge to really honor and listen to what people are saying in a feedback, right? So, he's right. And I don't think that this takes away anything from what People's Response Network did. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there were that many softball questions, Dominic. I think it's all, that's subjective. I mean, they asked
it's
them
hard to figure out questions to ask the candidates. That said, Dominic in the same email, Dominic had a really good way to format a question that I hope somebody does in an upcoming forum, because this is going to require cooperation from any of the candidates who don't win. And I think, that's why I was calling for 3 co-mayors, because I thought that those 3 would get along really well. And, regardless of which one of them wins, if they win, I think they could coordinate and do really good things for the city.
Okay, so really quickly, Kathy Power says they're called town halls. They're called town halls, and it will be done. Will it? How many candidates after they're elected have ongoing town halls, like at least once a month? Minimally, that's what they should be. Yeah, you're right, Kathy. Mm-hmm. They have them when it's beneficial to them, I think. And what Dominic is calling for is regularly scheduled pledge of town halls, like, I don't know, weekly, month. I think it's monthly, if I'm remembering correctly, and I could be wrong. But go visit his website, independentvoterparty.org. Now, additionally, here's some of the questions that he asked in the email that I think are very, very important to consider also. To get things done in government requires collaboration. And you have identified a number of problems for our city government to address. Now, this is to mayoral candidates. Can you name one or more like-minded mayoral candidates that you want to invite as members of your staff if you win the election? How about aldermanic candidates, whether or not they win their elections? Now, to be fair, I do recall in the last election, in a couple of the forums that I attended, that question was asked. And ironically, I heard former police superintendent, what's his name?
Was it McCarthy?
McCarthy said he would choose Amara Enya because he respected a lot of the solutions that she was proposing. And I was impressed with that. I think he really meant it. He was very, very genuine. There's a lot of mutual admiration. So, Dominic, to your point, this is a question that more people need to start asking at the forums. Now, furthermore, a question that Dominic posed for people running for alderperson. As you know, ideas for government action require ordinances to fulfill them. Coalitions must be formed to pass them and see that they are enforced. Which other like-minded aldermanic candidates would you like to be involved with if you win your election, whether they win or lose their election campaigns? Who do you support for mayor? Now, again, to a certain degree, Dominic, some of the aldermanic candidates that we have interviewed on the show are in alignment with each other. They haven't won yet, but I think by virtue of the fact that they're referencing each other, they're kind of building that coalition before they will hopefully be successful in winning to go into city council and basically provide an alternative to the other alder people who are constantly rubber stamping Lightfoot's agenda. Or if she wins, hopefully she won't, we'll have fresh alder people in there. We'll have a mayor like a Johnson or a Jamal Green or anybody but the Stash or Lightfoot or Vallis, and finally see things moving in a direction that's serving our citizens, especially when it comes down to mental health and the investment in communities. So good points to remind us of, Dominic. And I think that these are relevant to bring up in other forums going forward. Now, that said, I have not had a chance to watch every forum yet. And maybe these questions have been asked, so I don't know.
And I actually really need to take time and watch our forum again fully because I was working behind the scenes trying to get things working.
Yeah. And I
wasn't able to pay full attention to every single question that was going on, and there was some good stuff in there. I mean, I managed to watch a few minutes while I was on my break today, and I'm like, yeah, I missed that. I was like, glad I saw that. And I'm like, we were battling microphones because, and then this is a little bit of how the sausage is made, but the church has their own audio board, which they use for their PA.
Very helpful
for the speakers. Was helpful for us to plug in. The problem was they had several wireless mics. They weren't just passing one single mic around, and some of the mic levels on some of those mics were low or possibly off, and some of the candidates didn't think to actually make sure the mics were on before they started talking. So you'll find that there was some variable audio in there, although most of the candidates and the moderators were fairly audible. So I was glad that at least the sound in general was good. I mean, you guys can confirm that. And it's my bad because I know Jerry tried to fit in a little intro at the front end of the thing between the video we weren't allowed to show and the between that and the forum starting, and I forgot to hit the unmute button on the camera. So you got to see Jerry do pantomime for about 30 seconds before we got into the forum. So that was my bad.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who were grateful that they didn't have to listen to me. But anytime we popped the banner back up also, that's because I had to like pick up the camera and move it to another location without it looking like I was spastic because, someone who was in the audience decided to stand up and not sit down after they asked their question.
Well, and then even with that, we basically had to deal with the structure of the building inside, which had several columns placed throughout, which was, it reminded me. Well, and I think I had mentioned it. It reminded me of a ballpark, competing with a ballpark. Wrigley Field is like that.
Oh, I thought you were Comiskey.
Well, maybe Old Comiskey too, but Wrigley Field has a number of seats that are basically obstructed view, and I don't know how many of those still exist in their current layout. But it's like you got a seat, but it's right behind a girder, and I'm like, that's what this is like. And so Jerry was doing some amazing work trying to pivot the camera to make sure that as many people were visible as possible when he had to pan over, and then we had to get even to the point where.
I had to lift the camera up and relocate it because, anyway, look, we were glad. We were very happy. I give us an 8 out of 10 as far as the technical production values. There's room for us to do better, but we learned.
We're learning. We actually figured out there's a few things we can do better right off the bat. And then one of them is making sure that we don't jostle the video cable when we're trying to move stuff. I think you guys probably saw that the camera screen went black once, and I was like, we lost video, Jerry.
Yeah. But, that's what you get with a 2-person crew. But I'm very proud of what we accomplished. And I don't know that we needed more people from a technical perspective. It's just the gear that we're dealing with. It's like they're little hiccups. It's not always meant to be moved around a lot and do everything that we're demanding from it. But I think we did. I think we performed admirably. So then the next one we have to do is going to be way better because we know all the buttons we got to remember not to press or to press. Is there going to be a next one?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if an opportunity arises. I mean, they seem to be packing all these forums together in like a number of days. They literally, the candidates that did make it to the south side literally had to hustle up to the north side.
Talk about
that. We can talk about that too.
Yes.
So up on the north, and Jerry and I were trying to figure out which local news crews were actually here on the south side at the church covering other than us. We were the only one live streaming. But some of them, I think, was Fox Chicago was there.
NBC.
NBC was there.
Yeah.
And I think somebody was up front in one of the seats with a camera too. And I think that's how WGN got some footage there.
Well, the question was, where was WGN? And
where were they? The answer is they were on the north side at Lane Tech. Where Ben Bradley was moderating the North Side Forum, where all the candidates showed up for the white people on the North Side.
For all the white people, yeah. So let's remind people: Garcia and King and Wilson did not find it important enough to come and speak at the first South Side Mayoral Forum. But man, they were up at Lane Tech on the white North Side to make sure that they were getting votes there.
Yeah, and I don't give Paul Vallis much credit, but credit for being on the south side while white.
He was there.
While white. He was on the south side.
We were there while whites.
Yeah, but we were covering the event and we're awesome.
We're always
we are not candidates, Jerry.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm just kind of I remember when I was working on Amara Enya's campaign as the video producer. I was the only white face, and I used to joke around about being the token honky. So, anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if that word will get us demonetized. I don't know.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care. You know me. I'm just
anyway.
IDGAF anymore.
Yep. So yeah. So overall, not a bad live stream. I don't think. I mean, we weren't too many complaints. A few people who were tuning in through the website did not realize that it was muted by default, and you had to unmute the video on the website because I didn't want it auto playing and blasting you in the ears right when you load the website.
Most websites are like that. I have a website on Wix, and I've got my demo reel on the front end, and I cannot program it for the audio to start on its own. It basically, the reason that is, everybody, anytime you visit a website, make sure to check any website. If you're not hearing anything, check the audio, because they don't want you to be at work and for you to load a browser and then suddenly it blaring out music. Maybe it's a website you don't want none of your coworkers to know you're visiting.
Oh, and I had the live stream set to autoplay while muted because I wanted people to know we had a live event going on. I don't normally have our YouTube on the website set to autoplay. So, but you can always find us at ChicagoCornerTV.com, and that'll, you'll see the little links to our Patreon and all of our social media and all that fun stuff, and we'll try to update that as regularly as we can. You can find us on Twitter at Chicago Corner TV. So,
And back to the
yak. Like, share, subscribe. Please be a Patreon supporter if you like the fact that I keep yakking. Or if you don't.
That's my cue for Ed. Let's move it on.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on. So just to make sure, if you'd like to make Ed stop yakking, support us at patreon.com/Chicago Corner. Thank you. All right. What else did we talk about? Well, we had Chicago mayor candidates appeal to voters are honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Is that boring?
No.
We
talked about Byron Sigcho Lopez on Chuy Garcia. The secret email mistake, and Chuy's run makes Lightfoot's. Yeah, we covered that.
Oh, we can talk about Congressman Jackson for a minute here.
Okay.
That's what we'll do.
We got to get to that great J. Mull story at the end.
Yes, we do. And we'll do that in just a bit. But here we go. Representative Jonathan Jackson endorses mayoral challenger Brandon Johnson. Jackson says Rep. Jesus the stash. Jesus Chuy Garcia. Belated entry into the race forced him to make a choice that was not difficult, given the bond he has forged with Johnson on education. Not a difficult choice.
Yeah.
For him. So, I mean, read the writing on the wall there, Chuy.
Chuy, get out of here. Actually, Han says, no. Chuy, get us out of there. Chuy, get us out of here. But it's Chuy, get out of here.
I'm not drinking enough liquor.
Or should I do my Yoda? Yes, Chewbacca.
Okay. Any more Chewbacca impressions, and the mouse is going to come after us. So, okay. I don't know. Why do we have a paywall? I thought this was free now. Okay.
Well, you have the archive pH, don't you?
No, not defaulted. Register here.
I have that happen.
I'm not going to do this on the stream.
No.
Register the thing. Do you have it loaded?
No. Sometimes the Sun Times will load an article and you think it's clear, and then you go back. I'll load it. Hang on a second. Let me copy the link over. Close yours.
Okay.
And I'll open it on this end.
All right. Stand by, everybody. This is a top-notch operation we get here on Chicago Corner. I hope you enjoy the show that we're providing you. It's nonstop entertainment. Nonstop entertainment.
So should I read from it since you can't read it on your end?
Yes, please, Jerry.
All right. Let me get it up here. That's
or I can read the first two paragraphs and then it fades out. So,
all right. All right, newly elected U.S. Representative Jonathan Jackson, the son of civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., on Monday endorsed mayoral challenger Brandon Johnson, boosting Johnson's efforts to unite a progressive political and labor movement that once was firmly in Jesus the Stash Garcia's corner. The younger Jackson said he has enormous respect for Garcia, but Jackson said Garcia's belated entry into the race after the Chicago Teachers Union had already endorsed one of its own, and CTU organizer Johnson forced him to make a choice that was not a difficult one. I've worked with Brandon as an activist in education. Education is something that's very close to my heart. I support the work of the Chicago Teachers Union. Those persons that are going in and out of these classrooms are the frontline workers. I think there's a depth and breadth of scope to Johnson. We have a history of working together, Jackson told the Sun-Times. The Stash Garcia is a close friend and ally. I really appreciate the stash. It was just a matter of timing. This is how I always have to edit myself when I'm talking about Lakeshore Drive. He came in a little bit later, and Brandon was already in motion. I shared that with the stash as well. I've got a lot of people I respect and admire in the race. I'm making a personal choice as to what I think would be best for the city in this time. Jackson acknowledged that Garcia, quote, stands for very much the same things that I stand for as well, but he and Johnson have more in common. They're former teachers who forged a lifelong bond while opposing former Mayor Rahm Fuckface Emanuel's controversial decision to close a record 50 Chicago public schools, and that's why we've nicknamed him that. We've both been educators, teachers. I've worked most closely with Brandon in these communities for a longer period of time. I know his pain, Jackson said. We've been activists together. I've seen his rise from activist to legislator. He's had his eye on this for a long time. I share Brandon's vision. I share his enthusiasm and commitment. We basically come out of the same tradition of being activists and now legislators. Brandon can take this ultimate leap over to being the executive of the city of Chicago. Now, let me also add here, Ed, this is what I like about some of these candidates. King and Sawyer are alder people. We have their record to look at. Okay? Yeah. Johnson and Green, activists in the streets, doing stuff, helping people. We saw Vallis's record as superintendent of schools, and the fact, and you know, I've said this a million times, my problem with Vallis is there were a lot of sexual abuse scandals during his tenure that were ignored and not investigated. That's my big beef with Vallis, along with the fact the Fraternal Order of Police is endorsing him. That's a big red flag to me also.
Well, and also he was a charter school guy.
Yes, that too. A lot of
things. So like his entire thing about public schools now is like revisionist.
Right. He might be very charismatic and his heart might be in the right place, but we've seen Vallis's record with these points that we just brought up. We've seen King's record. We've seen Alderman Sawyer's record. Now, to King and Sawyer, I think they're adequate alder people. I know I saw in the live chat a lot of complaints regarding Alderman Sawyer's service. But again, let's get back to Johnson and Green. I've seen their records serving people as activists and making change as activists. Johnson with the Chicago Teachers Union and Jamal taking on the banks to be able to give people in his community a better shot and opportunity at affordable mortgages to put a roof over their heads and raise families. So these two gentlemen, I think we need to focus more on activist candidates, not this, and which we're also seeing with a lot of the current crop of aldermanic candidates that we have interviewed, from Muez to Nick Ward to Jim Ascott. None of them have the baggage or experience of public service that we can see and measure them by. They've all been involved in successful attempts on their own, either as activists or in Jim Ascott's case as a businessman and as a social worker who's very, very invested in really trying to like figure out how to resolve the issue with the homeless crisis here in town. So I think, and I just kind of like came upon me, I think we all need to be focused more on activist candidates and not the professional ones that trot out. And I think the fact that Jonathan Jackson is endorsing Johnson speaks to this mindset. Let's look at what they've done for the community, because those who are active in government and more or less career politicians, for them to say they're going to change and do other things when their record speaks otherwise is not a very smart bet.
Yeah.
Shall we continue from the article? So Let me continue real quick with the article. Garcia told the Sun-Times in November that he'd love to unite the progressive movement he has championed for a lifetime, but is prepared to go it alone if it's too late for that in the first round of balloting. Get back to Congress, Stash. He's confident he can force Mayor Lori Lightfoot or someone else into a runoff, and that the progressive family will reunite behind him then. And who's going to take care of Congress, Stash? Folks know me. They know what I've done. I know we will eventually get their support. I'm the only guy left from the Harold Washington coalition. That's all he leans on. No one in Chicago politics today has been involved in fighting the old corrupt and racist and sexist Chicago machine longer than myself, the 66-year-old Garcia said. I think I'm getting a pretty good imitation of him, too.
I'm pretty impressed.
Thank you. I am certain our movement will come together. We have a shared set of values. On Monday, Jackson was asked whether he is prepared to pivot to Garcia if Garcia makes the runoff, and the lesser-known Johnson is not among the top two finishers. The Stash is a dear friend. We'll drive off that bridge once we get there, Jackson said. I said drive off that bridge. He said cross that bridge. I said drive off that bridge. Johnson said he's known the younger Jackson for more than a decade, admired Jackson Sr. for a lifetime, and was truly humbled by Jonathan Jackson's support. To have the support of the son of a civil rights icon who's ushered in the progressive movement before it was even called the progressive movement, that means there's a growing chorus of progressive leaders, civil rights leaders, that recognize that my candidacy is not just strong. More and more people are convinced that Chicago is better off having someone who can build and bring a coalition together, Johnson said. So there you have it. There's a nice picture of Commissioner Johnson down there. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Who's that in the background? I didn't even notice that until I scrolled down this page.
Oh, wait, hold on. Can you zoom in on that? That guy looks really familiar.
You're going to have CPD out with a warrant for my arrest.
Who's that guy?
That's hilarious. I'm on the. That's nice. Hilarious. That's what the petition drop off. What was I doing? I was probably texting you or somebody, or what was I doing there?
I don't know.
I look like I'm a ne'er-do-well in my trench coat in the background there. But it's not about me. I just noticed, oh, wow, I'm right back there. It pays to be covering these events in person, I guess. So, anyway, cameo of Jerry Vasilatos.
Yeah, that was great. So, here, let's roll into the chat for a minute and see what we missed here. We got... Hello, Uncle Warren. I didn't see you show up, but welcome and thank you for coming to the show. Stash Rip Rock. Yeah, that's pretty good. Lori the B. I don't know what B stands for, though.
Oh, Kathy's got a good one. I got to drop it in, and I'm taking this one, Ed.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get it queued up. All right.
I'm hands off.
Okay, hands off. Kathy Power shares. I'll raise that bridge when it comes to that.
Oh, no.
I'll raise that bridge when we get to it.
Oh, so that's what it's like when Lori's blocking your camera. Okay. All right. That was fun. Yeah. So, what do we have?
I think we got the last story with.
So I mean, Kathy, she's one of the activists that they talk about. So, yeah. She says we will make it so for real. Call us the Picards of Chicago. Some of you know that Star Trek Next Generation reference.
I knew it was a Star Trek reference, but I don't understand how it relates because I know.
Okay, well, we will make it so.
Oh, got it. Got it. Boy, am I slow.
Yeah.
All right.
And actually, it's not only Picard who said that. There are a lot of captains that use that. It's just that, that wasn't their catchphrase like it was Captain Picard's.
Right. And Kirk's catchphrase was, "You have the con, Mr. Sulu. You have the con, Mr. Heller." We were joking. We were joking about if I'm the Captain Kirk of the show, what is Ed? I would say Ed is the Mr. Scott of the show. He's the tech specialist. He maintains everything behind the scenes. He's very funny. He's always there to help out when we have some kind of a crisis. So,
although sometimes I'm like Bones, but
that's cross between Bones and Scotty.
But, I'm giving it all she's got, Captain.
Should I pop up the Twitter? Mine actually loaded.
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Well, I got it up.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
This is great.
Oh, yeah, we're good. So Jamal Green posted this yesterday on his Twitter. A day of giving 3 green hearts. On MLK Day, we had the honor of giving to hundreds of families free breakfast from Chicago's Chicken and Waffles. We got to go there sometime. I love both chicken and waffles, Jerry.
That would be fun.
And free groceries. So, he doesn't stop. He's doing this stuff all the time. This isn't like Willie Wilson doing the gas cards thing. This is a guy who would do this regardless of whether he was running for mayor.
And we've got, I think that this is brilliant.
And when I spotted this, I was like, is that Jamal standing next to a stadium mascot version of Jamal?
You know what I was afraid of, though, Ed? This speaks to the fact that Kit Cabello isn't the only one with a clone running around Chicago.
Yes.
Jamal's got his own clone now, or some kind of lab mutation of a clone that's taller than he is with a bigger head to represent for him in other neighborhoods as he's canvassing others or out talking to constituents and others. There we go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is
I guess we really got to make some Cabello clone mascots now.
And once again, the spirit of our dearly departed Harold Washington approves.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Now, there were some other photos, though, in that Twitter. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even see this. Wait a minute. In action. There's the Jamal mascot at that Chicken and Waffles get together, I believe. That's the restaurant.
How many mayoral candidates have a mascot like that?
That's awesome. Here he is walking to the bus. Ah, that's touching. Well, good luck to Johnson. Good luck to Jamal. One of the key takeaways from that forum was I really, really like the camaraderie between the candidates who all have our best interests at heart, I believe. However they wish to accomplish them. When I saw Buckner and Johnson and Jamal up there seated together, they were like patting each other like, yeah, you're right. They get it. They get what has to be done. And, they all have different approaches to getting it done, but the goals are the same.
Yeah, the goals are the same. We got to fix the city, and the current mayor ain't cutting it.
So I do have the email link, although I'm worried the sound might not play, so let me send it to you in the private chat so you can bring it up. It's the last story in our show notes. I just sent it to you.
Oh, we got more stories? Oh, that email.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I've told you 1,000,000 times I don't want you talking about the emails anymore as they relate to the misstep taken trying to recruit Chicago public school students as my personal slave labor for credit to make sure that I remain the queen of the city of Chicago.
Okay, but before we get into that, Lori, I just wanted to follow up just briefly on this. Since we don't have a choice of the best name, Jerry, which is Lord Slushington J. Shuvelsworth III, I thought at least maybe we could take a minute to roll down the 50 names that they did choose.
I know why they didn't choose it, Ed. There wouldn't have been enough room on the snowplow to paint the name on it.
Well, I would have been fine with a wraparound, Jerry. But of course, then people, as they're passing by, they'll get into accidents trying to read the name.
And now that I'm looking at this list, there are some that are as long as yours.
Yeah, I mean,
she said.
Yes, especially the one that's probably your favorite, Jerry, Jean-Baptiste Pont du Cheval.
No. Get that out of there. Get that out of there. And it's no
Okay, so we got
disrespect.
Austin
They already named the drive after him. They don't need to name snowplows after him now.
Yeah, well, Little Dibby. Okay, that's funny. That's a little shot at Dibs. That's funny.
There was a funnier Dibs choice that someone gave us in our chat a few shows back.
Looper Scooper. Okay, that's amusing. Ludwig Mies van der Snow. See, that one's actually good because you got Mies van der Rohe designed a bunch of buildings in Chicago. They have a street named after him over by where the Museum of Contemporary Art is over in Streeterville. That's a good play on words there. Benny the Blizzard, no. Best in Snow, no. Better Call Salt, Mega Meltosaurus, okay, getting better. Here we go. Mrs. O'Leary's Plow.
I think someone needs to chime in on this. Is he around?
I don't know. Is he around? I'll have to see if he's anywhere to be found here, Jerry. You know, I mean, it's kind of weird to even consider that this guy might be interested in commenting about this, but hey, Jerry, what's going on here with the snowplow things? And like Mrs. O'Leary's Plow, Bessie's not amused at that at all.
I would have thought that Mrs. O'Leary's cow Bessie would have been honored to have been remembered.
Yeah, well, Bessie is like, just name it Bessie the Plow. But then, she's never really funny.
Actually, you're right. It should have been Bessie the Plow, not Mrs. O'Leary's Plow. I agree with you there. You're right.
Yeah, because, she's like, I mean, because, sometimes people name their machinery after, people. And Bessie is usually a popular one for machinery like plows.
Chicago snow.
Yeah. Oh, look, we got a whole list. There are like 50 of them in here. Bill Flurry. Okay.
That I like
that's
Bill
not
Flurry.
Terrible.
Bill Flurry. I don't know about the C3P snow.
No, that's no. Chance the Scraper. I know Cabello or one of his clones would like that one.
Yeah, Chicago style plows.
Plow Casso, that's pretty good.
The Plow.
Chicago style Plowza.
Ernie Snowbanks.
That's kind of, that's a.
I like. Okay, you know what I like, Ed? You know what I like? I like Sleet Home Chicago.
Oh, Sleet Home Chicago. Yeah,
Sleet Home Chicago.
That's not terrible. Ernie Snowbanks. Yeah, that's one of the ones I think you guys read on the show.
Ferris Blizzard's Day Off. Hey, now you're a plow star.
Yeah. Hey, Chicago, what do you plow?
Pit of the Snow.
Holy Plow.
Hasta la vista. I like that. I gotta say, of all these choices, if I had to narrow it down, I'd go with Sleet Home Chicago.
Yeah, I'm probably. Yeah, I mean, you can actually pick 6 on this thing, but yeah. Ludwig Mies van der Snow, that's definitely going in there. I don't know. Mrs. O'Leary's Plow, yes, okay, I'll vote for that one. But also we'll need Bill Flurry, Chance the Scraper, and Better Call Salt. And I think we got, what was that, 5 or 6? I think maybe one more. We'll go with Lollapalooza, although they spelled it wrong.
None of these are really as strong as the ones that were. We gotta go look at the show and the live chat transcript and assemble the suggestions there because they were much funnier than these choices.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I mean, I got things to do with my chocolate milk cow business, and so I'm going to. Jerry, did Pegleg show up again?
You were possessed again, Ed.
Oh,
how does that?
Looks like we're never getting rid of him. It's weird because like he'll come out and I'll be like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then it's like a giant tunnel,
How does it feel? How does it work? Do you feel him enter your body?
It's more like I get sucked into some kind of ethereal plane type thing, and I can kind of hear him talking. But
you're like in a dream state. You're in a dream state when it happens.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna probably have to see somebody about that once I get comprehensive national health care that hopefully everyone in Congress will support.
Good luck on that. I just saw an email.
Okay, okay. Warren actually has a pretty good one. It's a shame he didn't enter this. Deep dish Slitza. See, that's more clever. Flurry carry. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. Oh wait, do we have more? We got Natalie Williams in the chat is throwing some in here too. We got Chicago Snow. Second Sleety. Okay. Casnopone. Oh, so like Al Capone. Okay. All right, I think that's enough of that. I just thought, we should have a little fun with that while we still can, because you guys can go and vote for that stuff, and then we'll find out who actually has a sense of humor in the city.
Ed, I just checked my email, and just reported by the Chicago Tribune. Chicago mayoral candidates share ideas on city investment, schools at crime at a Tribune editorial board meeting. Now, isn't it nice that they're all praying ahead of time? They all seem to forget that there's a separation of church and state, and that it's clearly pandering and inappropriate, although I'm sure this is something that Willie Wilson brought up, because he always likes to request a prayer before every forum and public function. But let's get into the article, which I'm just reading right now. 4 candidates for Chicago mayor shared ideas Tuesday, ranging from the creation of an independent development authority to invest in projects such as a hedge fund to the redirection of new business property taxes towards feeding and housing vulnerable Chicagoans.
A hedge fund?
Let's read on and see what that's all about. Alderman Roderick Sawyer, businessman Willie Wilson, State Representative Cambium Cam Buckner, and former Chicago Public Schools CEO Paul Vallis met with the newspaper's editorial board, which operates separately from the newsroom. The challengers, all aiming to deprive Mayor Lori Lightfoot of a second term in office, offered some diverging ideologies, but overall consensus that the city was headed in the wrong direction. The board will meet with other candidates in the coming days. For much of the session, the candidates focused on crime, education, and community investment, particularly on the south and west sides. Vallis criticized the city and state for closing schools too long during COVID-19. I hear this a lot from some people, completely dismissing the fact that there were a lot of teachers with immunity issues and comorbidities that could have gotten infected by students. But, as teachers are looked at as babysitters all the time, they don't care.
Jerry, I'm actually going to leave Vallis up here because he's blocking the ads nicely over here.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. And blamed it in part for increased. So he's blaming the schools being closed too long during COVID, in part for increased street violence, a contentious claim that Lightfoot has also made. Asked to address the declining enrollment at CPS from just over 400,000 students a decade ago to just over 320,000 for this school year, candidates gave a wide range of causes and solutions. Wilson blamed crime and high taxes. Vallis and Sawyer both said they would look into bloat at CPS's central office. Buckner said school enrollment issues reflect the broader exodus of Black residents from Chicago, which needs to be addressed for the health of the city and the schools. Quote, for many of the young people in the district, if the lead pipes don't get you, if the constant threat of strike don't get you, the subpar curriculum will, Buckner said. People are making a choice. They're voting with their feet. Wilson said as mayor, he would close some of those schools down that have 10 or 25% capacity. I would sell them. I would open up some as he would open some up as trade schools. If he actually followed through on that, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But we don't need to close more schools. Find other buildings to open trade schools. Then I would take some of the other schools and create construction inside them and create jobs that people can get in those particular schools and open them up for the homeless until they get back on their feet. That's probably the clearest I've ever heard Willie Wilson make a statement. And I'm sure it's because somebody transcribed it and put it in order, as opposed to the school, create construction inside and create jobs, get people in those particular schools and open up for homeless until they get on feet. That's probably how it was recorded. But am I being unkind? Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think it was too bad of an impression. I think your attempts at impressions of these candidates is actually really good, Jerry. Sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't even think to try and figure out how to speak like Chewy Garcia, and you nailed it.
He has a very succinct pronunciation. He has a very slight accent, but he has a very succinct and very, very intellectual sounding cadence to his voice and diction. There you go. All right. So Vallis said CPS would be better served if some of the charter schools currently operating in substandard buildings, he estimated there were at least 80, were allowed to occupy former district-run buildings. So he wants the charter schools to occupy former district-run. Why not just reopen the district-run buildings as schools, dickhole? You have charter schools that are in warehouses. You have charter schools that are in rectories. These are our kids. Yeah, and those charter schools are like, the parents are paying extra. That's a choice. Not everybody can afford these charter schools.
No.
The school district, under pressure of the teachers union, will not let them occupy these big vacant buildings, Vallis said, noting that charter high schools are often the closest available for Black and Latino students. Why is that? Because they shut down all the other schools. The candidates sought to portray themselves as uniquely qualified to lead the city. Vallis highlighted his ability to be wonkish, I would say wankish, but also collaborative, and cast himself as a problem solver. Wilson spoke about his philanthropy and cash giveaways, read bribery, and noted that he bribed thousands of people with face masks at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. He proposed that all new businesses coming to the city should see 5% of their property taxes go toward loans to help struggling Chicagoans stay fed and housed, particularly during times of crisis. Okay, it's not a bad idea. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. The businessman also joked that he didn't finish school but makes more money than anyone in the room. How did that happen? That's something I can't wrap my head around. I mean, I admire the fact he's a successful businessman. I don't necessarily think that qualifies him to be the mayor of the city of Chicago, because government is not a for-profit operation.
Yeah,
but
wow. It's like you can't. I mean, every time we see somebody come into politics and try to run for a position saying that, well, they're a business person and so they will know how to run government, that's disqualifying right there. Government is not a business.
So he went on to say, now you have to give him credit. Here's what's impressive about Wilson, despite all of his easy to mock personality.
Well, and when I say that government is not a business, that's not to say that a lot of times it isn't a racket.
Yeah. So Wilson went on to say, and I'm not going to imitate his voice now. Let me be serious here. I only have a 7th grade education. I guess that explains his diction. Wilson said, I ran away from home at 13. Now all these guys, and you guys probably have more education than I have, but I probably can beat you making money because you work for somebody else. Here's the other problem I got with Wilson. It's all about how much money he makes and how much he can give away.
See, Jerry, there's the problem, is that we're not working for ourselves.
Right.
That's the reason why we can't be millionaires.
Yeah. I really want to find out how he gained his success. I mean, he gained it. Credit to him for it. But is he?
Did he own a bunch of pizza chains?
No, I think he franchised. You know what it was? He was a McDonald's franchisee.
McDonald's, that's what it was.
And then he went, I think, into medical supply distribution or medical.
So, yeah. Well, the question is, where did he get money for the first franchise that he opened? Because that's not cheap to open a McDonald's franchise. Maybe
it was cheaper back when he was growing up, but still it would have required a substantial stake. Yeah. Let's dig into that. Was it family wealth that helped him with that initial stake? Because without that initial stake, he wouldn't be able to brag about it now. Well, and while I give him credit for building on it and being successful, who gave him the boots to pull up his bootstraps is what I'm wondering, that other people don't have. Candidates also discussed the Invest Southwest program that Lightfoot launched as her signature neighborhood investment plan in 2019, with the goal of increasing development parts of the city that have long suffered from disinvestment. The mayor frequently lauds the program as a transformational boost to neighborhoods in the South and West Sides, but a Tribune review of the program paints a much more complex and nuanced picture. Among the findings were that Lightfoot's administration has spent millions of dollars in public funds and worked to spur both public and private development in neighborhoods that have experienced generations of disinvestment. The mayor's also lumped look who's cuddling up next to me here. The mayor has also lumped millions that were already in the works before she took office or constitute routine government spending, padding the investment total for Invest Southwest. The mayor put her name on Rahm Emanuel's homework, Buckner said. Sawyer said Lightfoot's office doesn't work with aldermen on development, leading to projects ending unsuccessfully. And Wilson said he would partner with major corporations to help set up trade schools. On investment, Vallis proposed an independent development authority to create a fund for spurring development. Why can't the city become an equity investor in some of these projects? Vallis is not that easy to imitate because he's got kind of like a pretty plain.
I have to listen to him a little more to get an idea on how to speak like him. Although it's probably just old white guy voice. It's not a very distinguished cadence that would make him stand out. Imagine if the city had taken a 5% investment in Lincoln Yards or any of the other projects across the city over the last 20 years. They'd probably be the biggest hedge fund in the country. Yeah, I have a problem with the phrase hedge fund.
Me too. Explain.
Well, here's the problem. A good number of hedge funds right now on Wall Street are playing by their own rules. They're glad-handing each other and the SEC and all of their market maker friends on Wall Street to rig the market in their favor and never have to pay off the things that they're trying to destroy. So there are a ton of them short-selling companies to try and make money, to drive the price down, but then their buddies are controlling the price by hiding most of the transactions in what they are calling the dark pool of Wall Street. So most of the transactions that are supposed to be actually taking place that affect the real prices of companies are supposed to happen in what's called the lit exchange. And unfortunately, what happens is there's this thing called payment for order flow, where companies, and Jerry's going to hit the yap video any second now.
I was going to, but now that you mention it, go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, it's supposed to make it easier for more retail investors to do investing in fractional shares and that kind of stuff by making it worthwhile for certain hedge funds to handle the flow of stocks back and forth between the dark pools and the lit exchange. At least, so that's how I understand it. So, but basically, hedge funds bad.
Yes, especially when you decide to integrate it into city government. Now, Kathy says, "Give him some TP for his bunghole." Now, Natalie makes a very good point, and You know what? You're right. All contraire, unfair. Government is all for profit.
And
those
that's
the most
problem.
Profit by the legislation they desire. Yeah, it's all for profit for our elected representatives who are profiting off of it, not legislating in a way that money goes back into the communities. So you're right.
And unfortunately, yes, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do to pressure our current existence of the way Congress is running, other than the extremely slow process of replacing them with people who actually care about the rest of us. But what you can do is educate yourselves on things like how federal spending works. So look up books about MMT. One of them is called The Deficit Myth by Stephanie Kelton. And you can also educate yourself in what we should be doing and what we're able to be doing for our country by going to my little parody site called volcanoparty.org. on the website. You can read about how the basic solution here is that we need to drop Congress into a volcano. And then that will stop all the obstruction that's happening that's keeping us from having nice things.
Like the obstruction that I involved myself in. See you
Yes.
later, suckers. All right, so let me go on to the article here. The candidates also talked about crime. Wilson said he would leave Chicago if it doesn't get under control.
He already left Chicago. You live in the suburbs, dude.
Yeah, he pretends he's here. Sawyer talked about student truancy driving far too many of the crimes and floated intervention programs, as well as the youth activist-backed Peace Book ordinance that calls for more investment in non-law enforcement related solutions to violence. That was a mouthful. Buckner said his uncle was lost to gun violence in Morgan Park in 2015. The homicide rate is too high and the clearance rate is too low, he said, arguing the city's stricter youth curfew ordinance passed last year failed to combat the issue, as we didn't expect that it would have any impact on it. Vallis said he would crack down on nepotism in Chicago police promotions. I wonder how the Fraternal Order of Police feels about that, making them strictly merit-based and get rid of the private security patrolling Chicago Transit Authority, because he contended those guards are toothless compared to sworn officers. While many political forums end with harsh words exchanged between contenders, the four candidates, I guess this happened at the end. There we go. The four candidates held hands and said a prayer after Wilson requested a show of faith to end the meeting. That's his go-to, man. Great.
How irreverent should we get in this part now?
Man of faith, and he always shoves it down everybody else's throats. Like it's what do I say?
Yeah.
You know what I say, right? You know what I say?
I'm going to try an impression, but it's probably going to be bad here.
All right, let's hear it.
Oh Lord, please help us four candidates muddy the waters and make it much harder for the legitimate candidates to get elected and beat Lori Lightfoot. Amen.
You know, there's an old expression that goes, shit in one hand, hope in the other, or shit in one hand, wish in the other, see which one fills up first. I routinely replace wish with pray. And that's all I'm going to say. 9 candidates are up in the February 28th race for mayor. If no one gets more than 50% of the vote, a runoff between the top two will be held April 4th. Oh my God. I thought it was the end of March. It's going to go into April. We might have to cover this shit until April 4th, Ed.
Yeah, when's the primary? February what?
No, it's not a primary. The election is February 28th. And if no one gets more than 50% of the vote, a runoff.
All right. That's how, it turns the runoff in April. Okay.
April 4th. Yes, Natalie, he is. Absolutely, he is.
Yeah, he is.
There you go.
Warren.
There's too much information, Warren.
Okay. How are you washing with? Never mind. Okay.
Is that everything? Did we cover everything we needed to cover tonight?
Listen, Jack, you see my keys? I'm looking for my wait. Why am I looking at Willie Wilson?
Do you think they're positioning him to throw him under the bus?
Willie?
No.
What do you mean Joe?
Yeah, Alzheimer Joe.
Melty Joe, I call him.
Melty Joe.
It's Melty Joe. It's a short version of Melty Brain Joe, but Melty Joe just flows better. And look, I mean, he's lucid some days, other days he's not, which just tells me that they either have to adjust the brain meds every once in a while, or they can only have him on him for a certain amount of time, or they can only have him on camera for a certain amount of time before the brain meds wear off.
But here's the thing, Ed. His aides found the classified documents in his home and they reported them. If they were really his aides protecting him, wouldn't they just say,
they would have covered it up and ignored it? Yeah. Okay.
I think something's going down. I think they realize what a liability he is, and they're letting him go out a lot more in public to show how much he's completely lost it when he's not amped up on the Adderall.
Okay.
So I think
they're basically letting him do a Jerry Ford toward the end of his.
I think.
Let him stumble, let him say stupid stuff. Let him get caught on his own BS. So we've known for decades this guy is a lying sack.
Dude, they knew it before they ran him, but they took the gamble and then put Kamala there in case he stroked out because they knew that she would do the Democratic establishment's bidding.
Yeah, and don't get us started on Barry phone call and Super Tuesday and all that other stuff, because we're going to be here another hour.
Yeah, we know what it was.
Blowjob! Blowjob!
Oh.
What's up?
That's what he was saying. Are we showing? Should we show any of this liberal hive mind thing? I don't think we have to.
You don't want to?
I mean, we can.
I forgot we had it queued up.
It's 10 minutes, though. I mean, should we cut to the chase?
I would jump to the halfway point because everybody knows the history. I think it's the point where she was on the news show.
Okay, we'll get right before the quote here from MSDNCIA.
Yeah, where they're interviewing Lori about it. That's where you should jump ahead in the video.
Okay, let me go there. Okay, so this guy is on YouTube. His channel is called Liberal Hive Mind. Give him a follow or whatever. Everybody should support everybody in independent media, because the reality is we're all getting suppressed in favor of the narrative and the establishment media, because YouTube made a deal with the devil, so to speak, metaphorically. I'm saying it metaphorically. Don't cancel us because we said something about the devil.
Natalie, we love you. Thank you. I still say this channel needs more viewers. These dudes and dudettes know how the stew is made. I'm sure you share our channel, and I'm sure you're subscribed, Natalie. All I can say to you and everybody else is anytime we post our links on Twitter or Facebook for our live shows, share it on your personal profile pages so more people can discover us. That's the best you can do to help us build our audience and our subscriber base. Thank you.
So let's see where this video yes, thank you, Natalie. Let's see where this video leaves us.
Sees democracy. So surely Mayor Lori Lightfoot might have some explanation. Surely she's going to answer questions effectively and honestly.
Mayor Lightfoot, I got to get you on one controversial thing before we let you go. Your campaign, re-election campaign, is under investigation after being accused of trying to recruit Chicago public school students to help you get reelected. What's your response to this story out of NBC News?
Well, I've said it many times, and I'll repeat it here. Look, in our zeal to make sure that young people had an opportunity to participate, and they're flocking.
And by participate, I mean be slaves to my campaign.
Holy cow, she's wearing the same jacket.
My goodness, she is, yeah. And glasses.
Yeah, okay, so clearly that photo was taken at the same time. All right.
To participate, and they're flocking to our campaign. One of our staffers.
They're flocking to
flocking or flocking. One of her. Oh, here she goes, tossing the young staffer under the bus. The young staffer that was reaching out to the young students that she wanted to exploit as slave labor without paying them for school credit. Here's something people need to understand about internship programs. Okay, when you run an internship program, it's not just they work for you for free. You provide training that they would be getting in a class that they're also getting credit for. Without that component, what she's doing is she's sending the interns out on the street to campaign for her, and they're not teaching these kids anything other than how to be exploited, is what it is. And with all the fucking money that she's got, that she's running around every city in the country raising money from, whether it was San Francisco or where else did she go? Did she go to Florida at one point? She's raising a lot of money from these businesses who are expecting to get some quid pro quo if she wins in Chicago. Where's all that money for your campaign going, Lori? Where's it going? You can't pay instead of looking for students to be interns, you can't fucking pay young people to make a living. She's what are you doing biting me? Look at him. He's biting my she's reprehensible. She's reprehensible.
Okay. Yeah, you were asking where all the money was going. That's why.
Yeah.
NASCAR.
There you go. That's right, NASCAR. What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
Jerry's cat wants some attention. He
certainly does.
He's like, dude, if you don't let me have my own live stream, then why am I here?
What do you want? You little punk. He's my littlest punk. Then I've got Selena. She's my girl punk. And then Sylvester, he's the senior punk. But they never come out to play on the show. Uh-oh. Yeah. Gonna get in the camera?
No, I just turned it off so they could get a better view of your cat.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Because the truth is that Oreo really is the star of the show.
That's what he thinks. Well, you have a clone on screen, buddy. Well, he's looking.
He's like, what? Hey,
what?
Hey, get that off of there. That's not me. You turn that off right now.
Well,
there he is.
All
right, buddy. All right, we got to listen to Lori. Let's see if it spooks him.
Light, foot, and mouth disease.
Reached out through publicly available information to CPS teachers and our city colleges, and that was just simply a mistake. I'm the mayor of the city. I'm not somebody aspiring to be the mayor. And the wall between the campaign and the official side has to be impenetrable, and it will be. And that was a mistake.
Well, not exactly. She's totally avoiding any type of culpability or involvement, refusing to really answer any questions.
Stop
she just says it was simple.
So it's an average day in the Lightfoot administration. That's pretty much business as usual.
How dare you ask for transparency on anything in my campaign? We're bringing the light, Jerry.
Oh.
My kitty. Was that an old one? My kitty Q just knocked a picture off the wall like it was a banked curve. Cat, orange, whistling, face, grin. Maybe those are icons. Okay.
Yeah, one of my cats, and I suspect it was this one, somehow managed to leap off the lid of the porcelain toilet in the bathroom so forcefully, he knocked it off and smashed the porcelain lid on the floor. Just from being on top of it and then leaping, somehow he dislodged and pushed it, and I had to replace it. It was like an antique lavender, you little bastard. Toilet tank top. Luckily, I didn't find an actual replacement that's like the same kind, but I was able to match the color. But this guy, you get into everything. All right, let's hear more from Beetlejuice.
Simply a mistake. I'm sure by her team, it definitely had nothing to do with her, but this is a clear conflict of interest. This is Democrat corruption at its core, using the teachers' unions and the power that they have over teachers' unions. Of course, it goes both ways, vice versa, but in this case, using her influence to appoint board members and, of course, allocate funds and resources to use public school teachers and public school unions to bribe students with extra credit if they help her get reelected. 12 hours a week, canvass, knock on doors, help get me elected, and we'll give you extra credit at school. That is totally unethical because only Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has the ability to do that. Her opponents don't wield that weapon. Her opponents have to actually...
Yeah, it's just plain. It's coercion, regardless of whether they think it is or not. It's if you're sending this out to your teachers, if you don't pass this information on, what's she gonna do to the teachers union or the teachers or anyone in Chicago public schools?
Let's also examine Ed. If she does not have the good judgment to appoint people to her campaign to make the right decisions without literally stepping in the shit, proposing something like this, what does that say to her ability to make judgments in assigning people to her staff or to her inner circle to actually get shit done? She's an absentee mayor. She's not paying attention to the details. This should have never happened, is what it comes down to. Either she let it happen, which I suspect is probably the case, or because she didn't realize it would turn into a shitstorm. She took a gamble.
Well, and didn't the teachers union contact her administration? Was it back in August about the similar offer, except I think without the actual reimbursement or stipend or whatever it was? I
didn't remember that. I take your word for it. Yeah.
So it's all they did was just double down on wanting to get students to volunteer, and
because they've got no money to pay them.
Yeah, and for her to basically feign ignorance or act innocent in this, it's ridiculous.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot has the ability to do that. Her opponents don't wield that weapon. Her opponents have to actually fundraise and pay people to get them on the ground or convince people to volunteer for them. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, acting like the tyrant that she is, says, I control school boards. Therefore, I'm going to bribe students with extra credit. I won't even have to pay them. I won't have to fundraise. I won't have to waste money. I don't have to use taxpayer dollars. I could just bribe them with extra credit and use the teachers who basically answer to me as a vessel to do so. And I'll create my own little student army that'll go out and work for me and get me reelected. Simply a mistake, she says.
Pause it for a moment too. Let's also qualify this. I have said on many occasions, I learn a lot from young people as an older person. Okay. I am not diminishing the fact that young people don't have a lot to teach us. However, she is preying upon the ignorance and the inexperience of a lot of these kids who don't well enough know that they're being exploited because she plays herself off as some celebrity, whether it's her stern COVID look when she became a meme during COVID, or dancing around the city as the Rona destroyer, or the leprechaun at the St. Patrick's Day parade, or singing at Lollapalooza, or whatever she does. She's ingratiated herself to young people, and she's relying on the naivete and ignorance. And I don't say ignorance in a negative way, but the lack of world experience that young people have to recruit them to do her bidding. That's what she's doing. And that's what's the most insidious, in my mind, tactic and strategy that shows everybody's expendable. School kids are expendable so long as it serves her purpose. There's no reason that they shouldn't pay kids to work on her campaign, period. She's the one candidate in this race who has the ability to raise the most money and has the most money. But she's spending it on pizza commercials to show how hip she is and that she delivers. It's ridiculous. It's so transparently absurd and disingenuous that it enrages me that she thinks people are this stupid. She's contemptuous of people that she thinks that she can get away with this. She's contemptuous in a way that she thinks everybody's stupid, and they can't really see through what she's doing. She's a failure as a mayor, an absolute failure. But her entitlement does not allow her to either step down, let somebody else run, or even allow the possibility that she's not going to get reelected in her own mind.
Yeah, and then of course, we know she's a tool of the Democratic machine.
Yes.
And we have talked earlier tonight about Chewy Garcia's role in this. And the truth is that it's, if the Democratic machine wants to hold on to power in Chicago, they're going to do whatever they can do strategically to make sure that somebody in their group is holding the reins. And
That's
so
right.
if it's not going to be Chewy, it's going to be Lori again. Or if it's not going to be Lori, it's going to be Chewy.
But here's the thing too: they're instead of telling her maybe you should step down and we'll run somebody else. Of course, she's never going to do that because everybody knows every politician has to save face. They're thinking about, well, where can we reposition her later as a loyal foot soldier of the Democratic Party? Oh, we'll run her for governor. Oh, we know she won't win, but she'll appeal to the female, lesbian, people of color vote so that we can then run her for Congress and have somebody else running in Congress. And also, might I add, when they were proposing running her for Congress, they would run her as a right of center. I don't even think they said right of center Democrat. A conservative Democrat is how they claimed that they would run her.
So basically Joe Manchin.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally all Democrats right now are conservative. Even AOC. I don't care how much she pretends with her shucking and jiving. She's paid for also.
She's performative, but she's basically an operative.
Pretty much. But she's got her celebrity. She's got her pot of gold. Her how many pieces of silver did they give Judas? 13 pieces of silver.
I'm not a Bible scholar.
I'm not either, but I know that they gave Judas several pieces of silver, and that's what AOC is. She's a Judas to the progressives and those who really believed that she was going to stand up for them the same way.
All right.
Oh.
So we throw some more in here. Let's see what else he has to say.
Yeah.
Let me guess she's going to throw the individual who sent that email under a bus, fire that person as being the architect, the orchestrator of all of it. Typical corrupt politics. She's the kingpin, so she has her mules, her little peasants, doing all the dirty work, and then once the whole thing gets uncovered, she doesn't have to take the fall. She has a fall guy or a fall girl. She can walk away from the scandal scot-free. Not so fast. This is the one thing that voters hate. What politicians view as just this little ethical gray zone, voters view as corruption. This is why Hillary Clinton was such a bad candidate. Because of all these pay-for-play schemes. The rule.
Well, that and the fact that she kept a private server, didn't tell anybody. And then when all that stuff leaked, she basically launched Russiagate, which we now know was complete bull sizzle.
Wait, bull sizzle? No, Ed.
This is such a crock of shit.
That's what it was.
See, I let the videos do that for me. I'm used to using the bacon metaphors because it's easier to get past the growing limitations here on the YouTubes, where they're like, if you swear too much, you get demonetized
on the interwebs.
Oh no, I'm getting the vapors. He said, "Fuck."
Yep.
Sorry, Mom. Anyway,
your mom
rules for thee, but not for me.
And anyone offended by me making that little joke there, I'm sorry. I don't usually swear that much.
This is the exact type of thing that pisses off voters the most. Abuse of power, and that's exactly what this is. This is cut and dry corruption. This is the Democrat Party public school teacher union connection. This shouldn't just be a little blip in the news cycle, a small little thing. If you ask me, something like this for me is almost campaign ending, especially considering the fact that it's a bribe. It's just
campaign ending.
It should be. It should be. Much as Willie Wilson's gas bribes should end his campaign also, because when we realize that they're bribing, but we're painting it with flowery language and ignoring the fact that these are bribes, they're attempting to bribe people for votes. How are we still tolerating it?
Yeah, I'm almost thinking we need to start making a list of all the candidates we think need to drop out or need to be disqualified, because it's growing.
Yeah.
I mean, not just because of the bribery or even alleged or assumed or implied briberies that are happening. Willie Wilson does not live in Chicago. That should be disqualifying right there. And the fact that he's even on the ballot right now tells me that there's a fault in the system, which should be verifying that you're an actual resident of Chicago.
They should not rely on another candidate to file a challenge against his petitions because of his residency. The proper authorities at the Chicago Board of Elections can investigate and clarify that themselves, and they should, and they're not.
And if any time a challenge comes up like that, they should have to be required to investigate by default. There should be a minimum level of standards in that. He shouldn't be on the ballot right now.
Just as bad as taking taxpayer dollars, taking tax dollars collected from the people of Chicago, and then injecting it into your own campaign. It's the exact same thing. That would be a massive scandal. I mean, that would be a scandal of epic proportions. But you mean to tell me that using the teachers' unions instead of dollars, public schools and...
I told you I needed it for an extra bean. Bean on bean. You just don't understand.
And public teachers who are paid by taxpayer dollars, using them to then bribe students to go out and get you elected. It's the same thing. It's taxpayer resources going to her campaign, using government to get reelected. It's not a small little scandal, a small blip in the news cycle. This is massive. It shows you exactly who Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is. We see the same thing every time when we get a little glimpse into who she is outside of the public persona. Somebody who mistreats her employees, somebody aggressive, somebody angry, petty, who wants to settle scores.
No,
and
sir.
now beyond
No,
that,
sir.
somebody who's
No,
power
sir.
hungry.
You will
Somebody-
stop speaking. You will stop speaking. You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
Okay, I think that's enough of that video. Basically, I mean, all he's doing is basically saying that more or less the things we often have
reiterating.
confirmed. It's like I'm like, yes, dude, she's corrupt. We know. That's why we're going on this show to tell you. Here's all the other candidates that probably should be elected before anyone even considers her for a re-election. She's done. She's a one-term.
We're presenting the solutions to the problem.
So, with that being said, drink.
What was that, Ed? Did you just say?
I don't know. I felt a Cabello clone thing coming on. I don't know if it's latent. You know, the weird thing about
hand off my penis! No. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Yes, and you know the weird thing about the Cabello clones, Jerry, is that we don't even know if Kit is the original.
He's already said he's not. He confided as much to me.
But
he said the original Kit Cabello was killed many, many years ago, is what I heard.
Yeah, I mean it's not like Highlander kind of stuff, but there's definitely some clone stuff going on.
Yeah.
So where are we at? 9:42, and no porn bots in the chat. I'm disappointed, Jerry.
We've been very lucky.
Yeah, but we've also been very fortunate to have all these wonderful people show up in the live chat and contribute to the show, because without you, I don't know why we're doing this. So thanks once again to our Patreon supporters. And if you're interested in supporting Chicago Corner, you can head over to patreon.com/Chicago Corner and be a patron, so that we can provide more hard-hitting analysis on the city of Chicago, and maybe cover an event once in a while, and then even possibly be able to I don't know, purchase equipment for things like,
Well, we've got the equipment. I mean, I'm pretty much resigned to the fact that we're going to haul my stuff out all the time, and that's fine. But when we talk about wanting support and help and what we're trying to raise money for, it's to cover the many hours of time we invest in putting this show together that takes us away from our jobs that would actually earn us money. And also in the occasions where we definitely need some extra support with crew people. Ed and I were able to handle the Mayoral Forum on Sunday pretty handily. But if we're in the field,
sometimes it's helpful to have an extra person maybe to run a camera.
Yes. And we had that when we covered the mayoral petition drop off. We were very lucky. We had Connor Dorr helping us out. He was handling the camera. And I often say, it's like, I have mobility issues, so we need help when we're running gunning, right? We need someone who can handle the camera and move fast and be spry and know how to operate it. And Connor served that purpose handily and very successfully, and I was grateful we had him. But he's a student, and his studies have got to come first. And even though he participates as an intern for experience and credit, when someone's still in school and they've got other responsibilities, we can't always depend on them. And that's when we need to figure out, we need to reach out and see if we can then find someone to pay to cover us. So, I mean, that's...
Yeah, and there's a lot of good freelance camera people and other production people out in the city of Chicago. I know that over the decades, I have had to work on freelance jobs where I've interacted with a lot of them. It's good to support the local economy when you can, and if you're supporting us, you're also helping to support that local economy.
And in fact, we did hire a freelance camera operator for the Copernicus Center Forum, because I wasn't able to do that on my own. Kit was there with me. We were both on camera. We wanted to interview people, and that was an example of we needed someone who knew how to operate the camera, someone who really had the experience to operate it. So that we pulled that off successfully, covered it the best we could within this time and space that we had. So that's why we asked for support, everybody. We love doing what we do here. It's a passion for us. I consider it a civic duty responsibility. We feel very responsible being able to like share the information here for everybody to disseminate, and we want to do it more. But when it starts taking us away from our regular activities, earning a living, that's where we hope to balance things out so that we're not doing it at a loss as much as we love doing it. So hopefully that's full transparency for people.
Yeah, so that's our pitch. You know, we're here. We're trying to entertain. We're hoping to get more people watching, and it helps when you share the stream, and it helps when you hit the like button, and it very much helps us when you become a Patreon supporter. So thank you very much to our what do we got? 3 right now, Jerry. We got 3 supporters now. Hopefully more. We got 4.
Shane Coughlin joined us on Patreon tonight. Kick-ass Shane, Dr. Ehrman, Dominic Palella, and Kathy Powers. And, you know, to also support our pitch, what are we here now? 3 hours tonight. We'll probably do 3 hours Friday. We're in no rush to, like, cut the stream and get out of here. We like what we do. But consider also it takes us, 2 to 3 hours show prep, collecting stories, going through things, creating thumbnails. I don't want to, beg here, and I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but keep in mind that this is not a hobby. We consider this a responsibility, and it has all of the trappings of a job to be responsible and be present and prepare this and put on 3 hours or more a night, as well as go out and cover stuff in the field and do things with our equipment and our time and our resources. So we just hope, I'm sure everyone appreciates that, but at this point, having all of us been doing this for 2 years, we want to keep doing it, and we want to figure out how to make it sustainable. So thank you.
Yeah, and also someday down the road, I would like to get Oreo his own StreamYard setup so that he can sit in front of his own laptop and contribute to the show.
We can just have a little window watching us.
Man, and if we could, it would be awesome. We could set up some buttons in front of him, and so he could actually control some of the stuff that he shows from his end with his own little webcam.
He's the little prince of the house. Look at him.
Man, I may have to look into my box of old computers that are really slow and see if any of them can actually be worked into maybe an alternate streaming source for Oreo, because that would be cool. He could press the buttons.
Don't look at me. Look at the audience.
He's like, dude. He's like, you don't even know.
I wish my other 2 would come out though. They're just as lovable, but I don't think that they are as attention starved as he is, because he's the youngest, and I raised him from literally like finding him in the backyard. So he's probably the most attached to me because I've had him since he was such a tiny little kitten. Yeah. All right, Ed, take us out.
Yeah. How do I take us out? Oh, well, let me figure out how to take us out. While I figure out how to take us out, I'm going to turn off the Patreon little tab there, Jerry. And I'm going to leave Jerry live on this as I take us out, because this is a team effort here, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to thank you for tuning in tonight on Chicago Corner Taco Tuesday, even though I don't have the bug up for Taco Tuesday anymore. Oh, where was that bug? Hold on. Taco. Okay, it's official. This was a Taco Tuesday episode because the taco is now there. So thank you very much for joining us on Chicago Corner Tuesday night. Tune back in Friday nights, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, where Jerry is going to be driving the bus once again, and hopefully we won't be driving off into a ditch.
Or a cliff.
So take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. Be kind, rewind. Stay home, make pizza. Always go for the corner piece first, then so it's like corner piece, then edge, grab a middle, then go back to an edge piece, then finish off the middles, then you work your way around the rest of the pizza. That's how you do the tavern style. And with that, I will say good night, Chicago. Where the hell's the video on that thing?
It's in the other tab. You're in the wrong tab. There we go.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Well, that's what happens when we went over to the top.
It's like all the way at the bottom there, right?
I got you covered, Ed.
I see it. Hold on. But before I do, I just want a little public service announcement.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
Me too.
Good night, everybody.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!"
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.